The following story is found on the deep web. I'm going to read an excerpt of it. However, you can actually find the full story if you look in the description below. Violent death is the only possible ending for the beautiful women and lovely young girls who participate in the debauched entertainments of these evil cruise ships. It was on such a ship that Jennifer now found herself. Jennifer had chosen Copenhagen because she had read a book in the library where she worked in Ohio that described the bizarre Danish sex shows for tourists who knew where to look. She expected to find her thrills down some dark alley, through a door beyond the reach of the streetlights. She had never been to Denmark before, and had never heard of the special sex show cruise ships on which absolutely anything goes. These were a purely European phenomenon and have flourished since their inception in the early 20s. The flapper era, when skirts were short, morals were loose, and the law forbid both sex and gambling. The first of these ships had begun as a floating gambling den, operating outside the jurisdiction of the laws of the European countries from which it sailed. The popular idea quickly caught on, and with a hiatus for the Second World War, they resumed activity in 1946 with a different objective. There had been a shift in moral laws allowing gambling, but with more restrictive laws regarding sex, particularly explicit female abusive acts. So the cruise ship soon became the home of stern sexual entertainment. The style of entertainment aboard the ships had kept ahead of the legalization of sexual entertainment. And in Northern European countries, so that when liberal laws permitted stage fornication in nightclubs, the ships that were to survive kept their audience by featuring real torture. Among the common entertainment, tortures one could easily find being performed in a public club where whipping and flogging were used, hot candle wax, painful flesh clamps, and piercings of the breast, vagina, and any other flesh with long, sharp needles. Some clubs were more creative and performed more adventuresome acts on the bound ladies, such as an anal extension to the point of rupture, belly swelling enemas, and vagina stuffing with wine bottles, which would then be shattered, much to the delight of the cheering audience. Any females could be tortured as long as they signed a release, permitting the club and its employees to do as they saw fit to her once she was bound. Sometimes young girls could be enticed into signing for just kicks, and others would sign in return for drugs, but most often, the releases were permitted by girls with a gun at their head or a knife at their throat. The single inhibition to the popular club sport was a law that female subjects could not be permanently mutilated. This restrictive law had followed a long and highly publicized court case in which club owners were fined $300,000 for allowing an employee to burn off the nipples and clit of a 16-year-old entertainer. Although the beautiful young girl had signed a release from permitting unrestricted physical abuse, the inexperienced young man working with her had become carried away during the torture and performance by vocal encouragement of the cafe's rowdy customers. Another case was dismissed whenever the club operator successfully argued that when he burned holes with a glowing cigarette through the inner labia of a 15-year-old entertainer in his club, what he did was similar to what she had done to her ears with a hot needle when she had them pierced. Another owner was successful in his case when it was clearly demonstrated that the broken nose, arm, and cracked ribs of a 12-year-old girl who had agreed to a fight naked with a professional boxer were not permanent injuries. Although the child was much too young to be a client in such an establishment, there was no provision law in preventing her from entertaining there. When the background and underground live torture dens become common in the Scandinavian countries. In order to keep ahead of the game, the ship's operators had to provide much more violent brutality. They introduced a new variation in which naked little girls and erotic body decorations were used to serve liquor and food. And within a year, even these innocent children were, by popular demand, incorporated into some of the most violent sex acts people have ever seen. Naked children being subjected to bizarre and brutal treatment remained a popular feature, but soon the competition became so fierce that the acts of sexual violence proceeded to the ultimate limit. No female entertainers went willingly onto the cruise ships because they were reputed to be far too rough. And there was even a rumor that women who went aboard, who were employed, never left the ship alive. None of it was ever proven, of course, but the operators engaged special recruiters to provide female sex slaves to stock their holding pens. And the professional procurers delivered only the best prime cut meat in all of Europe. By the mid-80s, there were 3 ships sailing weekly out of Copenhagen, which were equipped with large grinders for the safe disposal at sea of the bodies of the victims of their more extreme sexual entertainments. It was on one of these evil and exciting ships that Jennifer now found herself. She had not been told the full nature of the ship's operation. That's why she was not prepared for the kind of exciting, down, and dirty action that she found on board this bizarre sex show ship, cruising through international waters beyond the jurisdiction of any country. Here, the laws of countries were not a concern, because in international waters, the captain of the ship was the law. Whether he allowed to happen to the females, the entertainers on board, was perfectly legal as long as he said so. This particular sex show cruise ship belonged to the largest international pornography and flesh marketing organization in the world, and the gorgeous women who were brought on board to entertain, well, at sea could expect the worst. Its bizarre sexual entertainment events provided an excellent opportunity for the very wealthy to let it all hang out, to experience the most depraved events imaginable with no regard for the safety or comfort of the beautiful, specially procured female subjects. The ship was exceedingly well organized to maximize the enjoyment of the rich passengers and to make the most of what happened on its several stages of all sizes. And its innermost showplace, the arena, in the heart of the large vessel. All its debauched acts were recorded on video for later distribution in the highly illegal underground market. These were no ordinary sex acts. They were brutal, sexual violence sessions in which the victims were often tortured to death. The organization's policy was to provide abroad this high security cruise ship the most degenerate displays of sexual perversion to be found anywhere in the world. Here they exceed even the excessive sexual debauchery practiced on captive white slave women in the Arab sheiks, or the prolonged brutal violence that the Viet Cong were known to have practiced on captured American nurses before they mercilessly butchered. The captain of this ship had explicit orders to promote for his paying passengers the most bizarre and depraved acts of human debauchement imaginable, and to ensure that the worst fears of the experienced captive bitches were realized, to provide valuable tapes for the degenerate events of the lenses of the multiple hidden video cameras. Okay, guys, so far it just sounds like it's going to be really, really messed up. So If you guys are interested, check down in the description. And if you're interested in hearing more stories like this, be sure to let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share out my videos. And I will talk to you next time. Peace out. Mahalo. Have a great night.
Yeah. 22, man.
Timmy, the motherfucking hitman.
That's a no one.
Root
BGM
808
500.
beats.
I'm all on my lonely. I feel like I'm all on my lonely. I'm all on my lonely. I feel like I'm all on my lonely. I'm all on my lonely.